Hey, yo, Pro Wrestling Podcast listeners, welcome to the show where we don't sing it, we bring it. Help us out and click subscribe to show your support. While you're at it, make sure you click the bell in YouTube so they notify you every time a new episode goes live of the Pro Wrestling Podcast. Are you sick and tired of dropping $60 to $100 for the latest and greatest wrestling video game? Stop immediately. Go to Wrestler Unstoppable. It's available right now through Facebook, where you get to create a wrestler, sign contracts, get involved in storylines, headline pay-per-views, even build your own corporation, all included in Wrestler Unstoppable, available now to all Facebook users, totally free. If you want to become a member of the Pro Wrestling Podcast family, you want your name in the shoutouts like Mike and Lansdale, then check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/Pro Wrestling Podcast. Sign up today. We have loyalty rewards. $15 a month contributors get to co-host an episode of one of our live shows, and our $7.50 a month contributors also get entered into a drawing to host an episode. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this live episode of the Pro Wrestling Podcast. We'll be taking questions, comments, anything you want to touch on through whatever chat feature you use on your streaming service. If you want to text us a question for a future episode, text to 267-642-1160. It is the Pro Wrestling Sound Off line. You text it to us, we'll get back to you and get that into a future episode. Don't forget, if you're new to the Pro Wrestling Podcast, head over to our homepage at frowrestling.com. It's a great way to look at what's coming to the show and to come up with the questions, the comments, the things you want us to touch on by checking out the homepage. You gotta support indie wrestling. There's a tab on frowrestling.com where we have listed events all over the country coming to an area near you. If you're unfamiliar with what local promotions are in your area, check out that tab. It's a great way to see not only who is in your area, but what stars appear on their shows, and you can go out there and have that wonderful one-to-one relationship that independent wrestling is the only way to get. Now, I understand, there's those people, I only go to a WWE show. You're missing out. WWE shows, I don't care if you sit right on the aisle and the guy's coming down the walkway and you get the high five or the handshake. That's nothing compared to being able to sit down and literally talk to the talent, take pictures with them, hang out with them, help them sell their merchandise if you'd really like to it during intermission. But whatever it is, get out to one of those independent shows and support indie wrestling. Today's the day. We've all been waiting. All Elite Wrestling launches today, and Double or Nothing is tonight, and we have this show as our prediction show. We're going to get straight into the predictions, and then we'll talk about the rest of the news for the day. First off, Double or Nothing. We're going to start at the opening of the card, which is the Casino Battle Royal. Now, I've got lots of opinions about this, but here's the reality. If you go down the list of talents that are participating in the Battle Royal, at first, just like it All In, it felt like it was just going to be a generic match. Whoever wins, wins. No big deal. No pomp or consequence. But this is not the case anymore. Now, the winner of the Casino Battle Royal is going to be one of the two people to challenge for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. That changes the narrative on the match. I find it amazing that they're going to give that match for free so that people can see that on Fight Network. And I believe strongly that the person coming out of that match has to be someone not already announced for the show. The reason I say that is very simple. We need people, if I'm All Elite Wrestling, I need people to buy the pay-per-view. So here's what's going to happen tonight. If you were already going to buy the show, you've already dropped your $50. It's already ordered in your DirecTV or your Comcast or your Xfinity or whatever it is that you use. You've already ordered that. But they're saying to themselves, we got to get the people who haven't subscribed yet, who haven't ordered the pay-per-view yet. How do we do that? Let's stream the Casino Battle Royal for free. And then here's the reality. The future world title shot makes it so that we can put something out there that is incredibly special. And all the people who tune into Fight TV to see this will then see this big surprise. They'll get this reaction of, oh my gosh, these people really are bringing it, and then they'll purchase the pay-per-view. That's the business model that they're going to use for this. That's why I predict that is where we will see the debut of Jon Moxley, formerly Dean Ambrose, where he will go into the Casino Battle Royal, and he will win that Battle Royal, setting up a match with either Chris Jericho or Kenny Omega. I strongly believe one way. We'll have to wait till the end of these predictions to find out where I go with that. If you have an opinion about who's going to win any of these matches, put it in the chat feature right now. I would love to give you credit for your thoughts and see what the listeners are thinking about tonight's Battle Royal and the rest of the card. So the first prediction of the show, the Casino Battle Royal goes to a debuting Jon Moxley, formerly Dean Ambrose. Now, Sammy Guevara, somebody's got the Charlotte Flair music going. It's beautiful. Sammy Guevara is going to be taking on Kip Sabian. That's another one that's going to be for free on television. I don't see a great way to pick this one anyway but Sammy Guevara, because he's bringing a championship with him. He is a star down in AAA. He's got a championship belt that he'll be bringing with him. And when that's the situation, then you can't just simply ignore the fact that he's going to be there. He needs to get a solid win, because just kind of like the Pac situation, you don't want to bury a champion of one organization and by putting him onto your show and then having him lose. I see Sammy Guevara is going to walk away with the win over Kip Sabian. All right, let's move on. Aja Kong, Yuka Sasaki, Emi Sakura, I hope I pronounced those right, Hikaru Shida, Ryo, and Ryo Mizunami. Look, I'm reading it as much as anybody else is. Let's put it this way. 6 women coming from Japan are coming here to wrestle, and they're incredible. And the only one who is a standout for years and years is Aja Kong. Aja Kong, in my opinion, is the X factor in this match. Doesn't matter who they were putting her against, Aja Kong walks out the winner. So her team, Yuka Suzuki, and Emi Sakura, they're going to walk out with the win. Britt Baker, Kylie Ray, Nyla Rose, the big word about this triple threat women's match, that everybody is hyping up the quality of these 3 wrestlers, especially Kylie Ray, and I firmly believe that Kylie Ray is the favorite going into the match, but not going to walk out the winner. My prediction here, much in the way that Nia Jax has been misused in WWE, Nyla Rose is the bruiser. She's the muscle behind the women's division in AEW. Nyla Rose walks out the winner of the triple threat. The Best Friends taking on Angelico and Jack Evans. Look, Chucky T is an incredible talent. We already know that. Beretta, an incredible talent. We already know that. They've done everything there is to do in Ring of Honor and in New Japan Pro Wrestling. They have a huge resume. However, I would argue that Angelico and Jack Evans, athletically speaking, are either at or above their level at this point of their careers. I believe that Angelico and Jack Evans walk out with the win in the tag team battle. SoCal Uncensored taking on the wrestlers from Oriental Wrestling Entertainment. I think here, SoCal Uncensored is so established that a win or a loss is irrelevant. I don't think you hurt their characters by losing here to SEMA and the other representatives of Oriental Wrestling Entertainment, the Stronghearts. So for that purpose alone, I hope that we get to see SEMA get in the ring and really do some things with Christopher Daniels to make the match special. Christopher Daniels has proven for the last 20 years he can wrestle with anybody and have an incredible match. I think the match will be surprisingly fantastic, but I'm predicting that the Stronghearts take SoCal Uncensored because we want to see a strong representation from OWE. That brings us to our championship match of the night. The Young Bucks defending the AAA World Tag Team Championship against the Lucha Brothers. And I don't see any way possible for the Young Bucks to win. And here's why. One, the Lucha Brothers, obviously, AAA is their home. They lost the titles in a shady manner with this last-second match that Conan put together. And at this point, the Lucha Brothers might be the biggest tag team attraction in all of the business. That being said, I understand the Young Bucks are an incredible tag team. They have accolades all over the world. But this particular match, they need the Lucha Brothers to go over, especially since they signed the exclusive deal in North America with All Elite Wrestling. My prediction, the Lucha Brothers walk out the AAA World Tag Team Champions. Cody versus Dustin. We've been waiting for this match for years. Several years ago, they wanted to do it at WrestleMania. They teased it in the Royal Rumble the one year, but never got around to it. In my opinion, this is the match that really sets the tone for All Elite Wrestling, because I truly believe that Dustin and Cody could put on a clinic here. It's great that they're brothers. But it's even more important that they are both incredibly technically sound. This match probably means more to these two brothers than any match in the history of their careers. Dustin has even said as much. I look forward to an absolute treat from these two, and I predict All Elite Wrestling will give the win to Cody, even though I think it should go to Dustin. That's just the way I would book it. I told you guys on the last episode I'd have Dustin win this, and I would have had Dustin challenge and win the All Elite Wrestling World Championship just to come full circle for the Rhodes family. That obviously is not going to be the case, but I would still give him the win here just to set up another match in the future. So let's move on to the main event. Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho. It's going to be a future shot at the All Elite Wrestling World Championship. So, the prediction. Kenny Omega beats Chris Jericho. I don't want to say that because he already beat Chris Jericho in New Japan. Chris Jericho needs a win every once in a while so he doesn't look like that, over the hill, washed up old guy. And so for me, I would actually consider putting the win on Chris Jericho, but then the issue becomes with my previous prediction. Somebody's got to wrestle Jon Moxley, if I'm correct in my previous prediction. And let's face it, we've seen Jericho and we've seen Dean Ambrose together. We don't need to see that again, but what we do need to see is some interesting, new, attractive matches. Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley would sell another pay-per-view, so that's why I have to go Kenny Omega winning this match, even though I don't want to see that. I want to see Jericho pick up the win. It just doesn't seem like it makes a lot of business sense to do things that way. So that is our predictions for the match card. Let's look at the rest of the stuff. StarCast 2, some reactions from StarCast 2. We got to see JR be very clear that he'll be hardcore recruiting Jerry Lawler as soon as his WWE contract is up. I respect the fact that he was open and honest about that. I question whether they can consider that to be some form of collusion because they're on the stage together doing their Q&A session. I'm not a big fan of how they handled that. However, if it's true, it would be nice to see the King on commentary a lot more frequently. We don't get to see that very often, and it's really a waste of his talents because he's an incredible announcer. He brings a lot of creativity to the shows, so it'll be nice to see him get an opportunity if he decides to join All Elite Wrestling. The rest of the StarCast 2 and the Double or Nothing press conferences and all the things that have been going on, I don't think anything really blew me away from the shows. I really didn't. I was expecting more out of the whole Dustin Rhodes, Cody Rhodes thing. I expected more from Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega. Little surprised. It was a little lackluster. I expected Cody to really put some stuff out there about the future of the business. I know there was some poking fun at WWE from the Young Bucks and Cody, making fun of the 24/7 championship and things of that nature. I appreciate that they want to make wins and losses mean something. I found it interesting that they already addressed the rumors of Pac and whether or not he'll come to All Elite Wrestling and then making the statement that they still think he'll be a full-time wrestler for them. I hope that happens. But if it didn't, I wouldn't blame them, just being honest. So, interesting interviews and whatnot during StarCast and the press conference for our Double or Nothing, but nothing I feel like that was setting the world on fire. I thought they kind of had a missed opportunity here to really do something special. If they were really smart, I think what they should have done is had a ring set up and had an impromptu match happen. That would have been cool. Instead, we're going to have to wait till tonight and see what they have to offer. What we're going to see tonight is going to include some of the input from a legendary producer and former incredible wrestler, formerly ranked number 1 in Pro Wrestling Illustrated's Top 500, and that's Dean Malenko, who left WWE recently and joined All Elite Wrestling as a producer. And he's also going to be another one of these huge backstage influencers, trainers, and everything else. And that is a big get for All Elite Wrestling. I think if Arn Anderson goes there, let's be honest, some of the reasons why WWE's success has been what it has been for the last several years has been the input from the different producers who help put the matches together and help push the talent. Malenko, Arn Anderson, these guys are huge in the success of WWE in the last several years. And now Dean Malenko's with All Elite Wrestling, and I would not be surprised to see Arn Anderson show up there sometime in the near future. He did announce, though, that he will be starting a podcast simply called Arn with Conrad Thompson later this year. In an update for Lio Rush has made several statements on Twitter. They have been deleted, referencing whether or not he should regret his decision. He didn't specifically reference WWE, but making it clear that maybe he should have thought with his mind and not with his heart, and all these other things, implying that he regrets ever signing with WWE. And perhaps that's true. Maybe he's got a lot of maturing to do. Maybe the fact that he didn't know not to say certain things when Emma got released from WWE after her defeat at Asuka's hands. Or maybe the times that he's not carrying bags or doing whatever it is backstage that they want to do for every talent. Let's be clear here. Bobby Lashley, who's jacked up and looks amazing when he was young and starting in the business, carried other people's luggage. Okay? So did The Rock. So did every other talent that's there. Bo Dallas. Okay? Zack Ryder, Kurt Hawkins. These guys have all gone through that. It wasn't, the oppression of any one person or race. It was a guy who was a young talent who was going through the same growing pains that every young talent does in WWE's history, and he thought he was better than that. And he wanted to make it something it wasn't. And you know what? Now it's done nothing but harm him. Now, if WWE wants, they'll make him sit there and wait out the rest of his contract. And I honestly wouldn't have a problem if they did that. Because something has to send a message. You are a talent paid to perform the way we tell you to perform. That's all pro wrestling companies. When people go into business for themselves, they don't deserve to grace that ring. I'm sorry, that's just my opinion. You don't have to agree. That's my opinion. I think Lio Rush shot himself in the foot with this deal. Dark Side of the Ring, I wanted to put this out there. It's a mini-series by Viceland. Chronicles 6 different episodes. I've watched several of them. They are incredible. If you haven't seen them, please check them out. Great stuff, all about like the match made in heaven, Randy Savage and Elizabeth. There's one about the Montreal Screwjob. There's one about the killing of Bruiser Brody. There's one about the life of death of Gino Hernandez. There's just all these incredible episodes. Check them out if you haven't seen it yet. The Dark Side of the Ring episodes are amazing. If you are a diehard wrestling fan, it's something you should really check out. Couple more tidbits for you. WWE has announced the main event for their return to Singapore, and it's a dream match. It's going to see Seth Rollins defend the Universal Championship against Shinsuke Nakamura, a match I've never seen anywhere in the world. If it happened, I'm not aware of it, and you're going to get to have it in a WWE ring for the first time at their return to Singapore. Now, the only problem I have is if they allowed Shinsuke Nakamura to be the Shinsuke who was in New Japan Pro Wrestling, this would be one of the greatest matches in wrestling history. My fear is, because of the way he's been booked in WWE for the last 6, 8, 10, 12 months, that it's not going to be that. It's going to be garbage. And I'm hoping they let him go out there and just tear the house down. I'm hoping Seth Rollins has enough input to tell the people to let him do that, because it should be an incredible, incredible match. At the same show, the Club, AJ Styles, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson will reunite, and they will be featured in one of the main matches at the same show, taking on Drew Galloway, Bobby Lashley, and Baron Corbin. It'll be cool to see the Club back together. I hope that WWE figures out that that's a good idea for the main roster every week, not just these one-offs, because they're going to be in Asia. Which wrestlers were told about Brock Lesnar winning Money in the Bank? As it turns out, only Ali was told that the 8th participant was going to win. Everybody else thought Ali was winning. So when Ali goes up to go to the ladder, nobody jumps in to stop him, because they're under the impression that he's supposed to climb the ladder and win the briefcase. Only Ali was cued in that someone else was going to be coming out and taking the win. Can you imagine the frustration if you're one of those other talents who heard this news and was like, what? What, are you serious? And then you see who it is. That's even more frustrating. There was some talk, some people were saying, hypothesizing, that the wrestlers, when Ali was told that a mystery wrestler was going to win, that he thought it might have been the return of Dean Ambrose. And it wasn't. It was just Brock Lesnar. Could have been so much more. And I want to touch on that for a little bit, because the reality is, we've said this before, the Money in the Bank briefcase is something that could have catapulted somebody into the main event picture, and instead WWE just bolstered somebody who was already there, who had a guaranteed rematch. I know somebody said they got rid of the automatic rematch clauses now. That's kind of like a New Japan has been doing that for years, but WWE has done that forever. It would have been real easy for Paul Heyman to say, hey, I negotiated to keep that in this contract, and they could have done it anyways. Somebody else was being very clear, and they said, listen, Seth Rollins came right out on Raw. It was like, if you want a match, let's have a match right now. So you don't need the briefcase. All you do is come and ask for it, and you get your match. Or just do what you did on Monday night and let Seth Rollins throw out the challenge and accept his challenge. No need to win a briefcase that could have been used to elevate somebody else. Really bad booking on WWE's part. And the last bit of news for the day, straight up, Steve Austin is a new show coming to the USA Network. It should be an interview-based series. Sounds like it's going to be pretty awesome. If you are a Stone Cold Steve Austin fan, and how could you possibly be a wrestling fan and not a Steve Austin fan, should be something you should want to check out. It's going to be 6-7 episodes long. He'll check out and interview people like Dale Earnhardt Jr., people like that, all the way through some of the current WWE talents. Should be very awesome. New show debuting very soon on the USA Network. That's all the time we have for this episode. Check back with us next episode. We'll run down all the latest wrestling news and rumors. Special thanks to bensound.com and purpleplanet.com. They produce all the music and sound effects we use today. Today's show is sponsored in part by Beazle Games. Bringing a new friend to family game night is easy with sketchy people. Showcase your artistic side in this game from Beazle Games by going to frowrestling.com and clicking the icon in the middle of the screen to pick up your copy today. And to alleyrepair.com. Contact Alley Repair for today for servicing of all your classic skee-ball, pinball, and arcade game needs. If you're looking for your next career move, you're considering college, university life, or you just need some formal training for your next career decision, go to our sister website at frolifeplanning.com for all your higher education needs, as Fro Life Educational Planning is for today, for tomorrow, and for life with Fro Life. I'm Fred Froelich, better known as Mr. Fro. I want to thank you for taking a few moments with us today. If you're looking for more wrestling news and rumors, go to www.tsj101sports.com for their latest articles on the world of professional wrestling. Until next time, take care, everybody. Make sure you tune in. Check out the free matches on Fight TV for all of the wrestling Double or Nothing tonight. and hopefully you get the opportunity to tune into this historic pay-per-view. Check it out. Looking forward, hopefully, to seeing Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega set up after the main event tonight. Until next time, take care, everybody. Have a great night.